Hello everybody on YouTube, this is Super Nintendo, and I thought I would take a minute to talk about something that is kind of frustrating me a little bit, and that is fan bases. I'm not gonna go out and say, like, Sonic fan base, the Dragon Ball fan base. This goes for every franchise, no matter what it is. And it's that fan bases, they take things way too fucking seriously. And basically, no joke, I had somebody tell me that I'm not a real Dragon Ball fan because I don't read the manga, or I don't play the card game, or I don't play Dokkan Battle. I don't give a shit if I don't give a shit if, I don't play the card game. Big fucking deal. The only real card game I actually play is Yu-Gi-Oh! And on top of that, I don't care for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. It's just, if you go out of your way to say you're not a fan of something, and then there's also, if you do versus debates like I do all the time, you get those people that are like, oh, you have a profile picture of this anime you're talking about, you're a biased person, therefore your opinion doesn't matter. Obviously, if you're debating about something, you like at least one aspect of the fucking thing. I'm a Dragon Ball fan. Am I gonna go out and say Dragon Ball is the best anime ever made? Fuck no! It has a shitload of problems littered throughout the entire fucking show. There is a difference between being a fan and a fanboy, and that's something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. It's just, And funny thing is, when you try to say you're not a fanboy, people are like, oh yeah, you're totally not a fanboy because you point out one or two problems. Literally, being a fanboy is, Teen Titans Go said it best. You stay with a show out of obligation no matter how bad the show gets. And I honestly think that Dragon Ball Super is a shit continuation, but I'm not staying with it because I'm not staying with it out of obligation or anything like that. I'm staying with it because I am a Dragon Ball fan first and foremost. I will go out of my way and say Dragon Ball Z is better than Dragon Ball Super, blah, 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 but I'm not staying with Super because of obligation. I'm not a fucking fanboy. Every one of the things that I like, there is problems with it. Sonic the Hedgehog, for example, the gameplay, the quality of games are very inconsistent. Legend of Zelda, the stories aren't always the best. Excuse me. Futurama. It's hard to pick apart that show for fan base. I know there's some flaws in it. I'm just having a brain fart. I can't think of any right now. But I'm not a fanboy. Family Guy. I like the first 4 seasons. The rest of the series kind of goes downhill. There's 1 or 2 episodes per season that are pretty good, like the Road 2 series or whatever. But those are even starting to go downhill. Who doesn't love The Simpsons, you know? But a lot of shows, just because you like something doesn't mean you have to be a fucking asshole about it. Especially if you're in a versus community like I am. It gets really fucking frustrating. like, if you say, like, oh, Dragon Ball, I get in this position a lot where it's like, Lord Beerus versus, I don't know, fucking Madara from Naruto or something like that. And I'm like, well, no shit, Beerus wins. He's a fucking universe buster. And it's like, oh, you're just biased to Dragon Ball. I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. It's definitive proof in the series that there's like one conceivable way that Madara could actually win, and that's with, like, Sharingan Genjutsu, assuming that can even work on Beerus, which, you guys can argue that in the comments, but I'm not here to debate that kind of shit right now. And like I'm a massive fan of South Park, but there are like people that are like, oh, South Park has been going downhill since like season 5. It's not even good anymore. But it hasn't been good since they stopped killing Kenny. Or something stupid like that. And I'm like, who the fuck cares? That's your opinion. And like, you can say, oh, I feel a show has gone downhill, but if someone has a different opinion to you, than you have no right to be an asshole to them. And a lot of times I say like, oh, you're being an asshole to me because I like this thing. And I don't try to come off as an asshole. I'm just kind of bad with words, but yeah. And like, I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty, for example. But there are fucking psychotic Rick and Morty asshole fans that are like, oh, you don't like the show because season 3 had a couple women writers on the show, and you feel like, oh, the women writers are screwing up the whole show. It's making it terrible. I'm like, are we watching the same show? Are you serious? And people going out of their way to make death threats to these people. I'm like, okay, you need to fucking step back. Why are you purposefully trying to ruin something you like? And apparently people have been going nuts over the Szechuan sauce thing that McDonald's had a couple of weeks ago. It's like only a couple people got them. And there's this one kind of hilarious video, I think, but it gives a bad impression of the fandom. Of like, there's this asshole who's like, you didn't give me my Szechuan sauce. He gets on top of the counter. It's like, I'm fucking Pickle Rick. Wubba lubba dub dub. And he pulls his shirt over his head and just bees like a little fucking baby on the floor and all this shit. It's like, don't fucking do that shit. For one thing, you're giving a bad impression of the show. People who haven't watched the show are gonna think you're a fucking nutcase. And because of that, you're hurting potential fandom, whatever things. And on top of that, you're giving a bad impression of Rick and Morty fans in general. Be like, oh, you like Rick and Morty, huh? You're probably going out there saying, wubba lubba dub dub all the damn time. And I'm like, no. I don't fucking do that. It's like, oh, you like Sonic. Oh, you must hate Mario then. I'm like, no. I'm not a huge fan of Mario, but I don't hate him. That's the thing. Fan bases really need to chill the fuck out. Don't be an asshole and say, oh, you like Dragon Ball, you have shit taste in. You like Sword Art Online, you have shit taste in anime. You like excuse me. You like Teen Titans Go, then you must hate the original or something. Don't fucking do that shit. You're not just making yourself seem like an asshole, you're making the whole fandom and the whole show seem like a bunch of assholes. You know? And if you do debate stuff, and you argue typically like, oh, who would win between this Dragon Ball character and this, I don't know, fucking Bleach character or whatever, and you pretty much argue Dragon Ball all the time, don't call that person a biased fanboy if they're giving examples. Like, I can't speak for other people, obviously, but in my case, when I argue online and say, like, recently it was, Kaioken Saiyan Saga, Kaioken times 1 Saiyan Saga Goku versus 8 Gates Might Guy when he fought, Madara. And, I argue, like, I don't see any conceivable way for Guy to win. I got a bunch of assholes telling me, oh, you're just a Dragon Ball fanboy, and like, the rules of the match were like, morals were turned off, so like, Goku, could like blow up the planet and nobody would give a shit. And, whatever, it's like, oh, well, Guy can bend space with just his, with the amount of power he has in that form, and Dragon Ball characters have never been able to bend space. And your point is, to quote Goku, you may have a lot of power, but what good is it if you can't catch your enemy? And this is a defining factor. Goku is too fast for Guy, especially since Guy's most impressive feat with that form required outside help to do it. And it's like, Goku is a fucking multi-planet buster, at least, by that point in the series. And is faster than light in just his base form, arguably. I would argue yes. And I also argue towards Saiyans can breathe in space. Because the big reason because Goku Black, he was in the middle of the fucking multiverse, and when he swapped bodies with Goku, and if Saiyans couldn't breathe in space, then Goku Black would have died before we ever got to see him. You know, that's kind of a big thing. And also, Goku went to the fucking moon as a kid! It's like, oh, well, Goku never broke broke through the Earth's atmosphere. Is like, yes, he fucking did, in the second volume of the manga. Are you a fucking retard? And I don't call people stupid because, oh, they like Naruto and they dislike Dragon Ball. I don't give a shit about that. I also don't give a shit if Might Guy really is more powerful than Goku. You know, people tell me that all the time. Well, it's like, oh, you're just mad because Goku lost to Superman in the Screw Tech Death Battles. I don't give a fuck if Superman is more powerful. I really don't. What I care about is they're deliberately lying to people about Superman's capabilities. And on top of that, when it comes to fucking versus battles and shit, you can't just merge every version of that character together into one, because it doesn't fucking work. Each version of Superman has their own strength level. For example, pre-Crisis Superman could sneeze away an entire solar system, whereas what would be good, whereas fucking, Strange Visitor Superman is 6 fucking dimensional. I don't know. Sorry about that. I don't know. The whole fandom thing is just really starting to piss me off. With I can't go anywhere without people assuming, cause like I have like a Rick and Morty shirt, and I can't go anywhere without people looking at me like, wubba lubba dub dub. Okay, that's kind of an exaggeration, but I feel like if I went out there and with my Rick and Morty shirt, and if I went out there out in public and just started going, I'm Pickle Rick! Wubba lubba dub dub! I turned myself into a Pickle Morty! I'm Pickle Rick! I feel like people look at me like I'm fucking insane. And on top of that, people would, like, I don't go out, I'm a South Park fan. I don't go all the time and go, oh my god, you killed Kenny, you bastards. It's like, no, just no. And this is coming from somebody who is a massive Dragon Ball fan and Attack on Titan and whatever. There is a thing of being too obsessed with something. And I should know. Just fucking stop. I realize that the internet allows you to talk to people with similar opinions to yourself and whatnot, but other people can have other opinions, and you don't need to fucking chop their head off to say, because they have a different opinion than you. I personally don't like fucking Naruto, but when it comes to like versus matches and whatever, I put my personal feelings aside. I even went out and bought like three box sets of Naruto Shippuden, and I'm one of those people that is like, well, I already bought one box set, might as well go grab the rest, you know? I am going to get the rest of the series, but in due time. I'm not going to just because I don't like I just said, I don't like Naruto, but I own it. I went out of my way and paid $40 for this, and I got another season box set on my shelf right here. And just, I don't know, it just doesn't fucking matter with people fucking blowing their brains out when they don't get their Szechuan sauce. It's just, I have no fucking clue. It's just, I don't know. I like the CW. I like season 3 of The Flash. A bunch of people hate it. I haven't had anybody try to rip my head off because I don't like season 3 of The Flash. Because I like season 3 of The Flash, I mean. So it's like, I don't fucking know. Just try not to be assholes to one another. Brenda Floss did a song about, like, people arguing over which is better, Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past. And, like, it ended basically with them, like, we're both Zelda fans, but we're Zelda fans in different ways. And just because you don't like Ocarina of Time and I do, doesn't mean we have to be assholes to one another. Fandom starts with love, that type of shit. And that is very true. Dragon Ball fans don't need to rip their fucking other people's guts out because they happen to like GT. Or because they happen to hate Super or something like that. I've gone on record saying I prefer GT over Super. Dragon Ball people all over the web have tried to rip my guts out over it and be like, oh, you like GT? Oh, you're not even a real Dragon Ball fan. How can you call yourself a Dragon Ball fan if you like GT? It's my fucking opinion, asshole! I prefer part of the reason why I prefer GT is because there's actual suspense, because it takes place after Dragon Ball Z, not in a fucking time skip thing. There's not as many assholes as there is in Dragon Ball Super, I feel. And there's not as many direct plot holes. And yes, I am aware that Goku wears a fucking spacesuit in that anime, and, sorry, I have, like, the hiccups or something. In that series, and like, well, if you claim that Saiyans can breathe in space, why is Goku wearing a spacesuit in GT? I don't have any fucking answer for you. Right there. And it's like, oh, which do you think is stronger, Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan Blue? Or Super Saiyan God? We have no idea how strong any of these forms are. For all we know, if Dragon Ball Super Goku went Super Saiyan 4, he would be stronger than Super Saiyan Blue. I don't like arguing GT Goku versus Super Goku because, well, first off, Super Goku is more powerful, but also because we have no idea how powerful these transformations are. When I argue something, I try to go in with as much logic and information as I possibly can, because otherwise I make myself seem like a biased asshole. You know, I go on record saying, like, I don't like first-person shooters. I've played a few of them, but I don't care for the genre. And admittedly, it's probably because I haven't played that many of first-person shooters. I've played a little bit of Call of Duty, a little bit of Halo, and that type of shit with my cousins, and I can't fucking get into it. But I'm sure there's a first-person shooter out there that I would like. It's just not my type of genre. And, like, Nintendo fans all over the board get shat on because, oh, Nintendo? Pfft, that's for babies. Why don't you talk to me when you play real games like Call of Duty and Halo and all this other shit? I'm like, people can like whatever they want. And in fact, arguably, Nintendo's even darker than those other series, but I think I've rambled on long enough, especially since I'm pretty sure it's laundry day for me. That's why I'm wearing this and whatnot. So let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with this whole fandom being out of control bullshit thing. And let me know what you're a fan of that unfairly gets shat upon. I'd honestly kind of like to know. So, this has been Super Nintendo, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!